This is the brief homily for the 11th of October. Please read the readings before listening to the homily. So often we've sung it or recited it or listened to it, "The Lord's my shepherd," that psalm. The art that's inspired by it sees us, that image of the shepherd. Children's liturgy we might have made, or your children might have made, cut out sheep with cotton wool bodies. The image is so strong, it captivates our attention, and we might not notice the journey has a destination. The Lord's prepared a banquet for me. I shall live in his house for ever and ever. Isaiah, in the first reading, dwells on that image of the banquet. The fine wines, the juicy food, anything that could hamper a person's enjoyment, death and grief and shame removed. Nothing but the joy and the delight. And Isaiah is telling us that that can be an image of the delights that God has in store for those who follow him. Now, the Good Shepherd leads, he doesn't drive us to the destination. In the Gospel, in the first parable out of the two, it was two originally, they've been joined together when the Gospel was written up. In the first parable, the people are invited, they're not forced to go, and how deeply they come to regret it when they ignore, turn their back on the invitation, more interested in their business and their farm. There are things in this world that can distract us, that can captivate our hearts, that can become, when they didn't ought to be, the purpose of our life. Some people take this so seriously that they surrender the right to personal property. They take religious vows, promising poverty. But for most of us, the example of Paul in that second reading is the one for us. Whether he was rich or poor, whether he had poverty or plenty, it was all the same to him. He wouldn't be turned aside by poverty. He wouldn't be distracted or corrupted by wealth. He was saying thank you for the gift that the people had sent him. He was off on his missionary journey in another city, and the people of Philippi, who loved him, he was their pastor, their preacher, their apostle. They wanted to make sure he didn't go short, so they'd sent him a gift of money to look after himself with. He's grateful, but he wants them to know it wasn't strictly necessary, because he can handle riches or poverty with equal calmness of mind. How good it would be for us to be able to say the same. The second hazard in that gospel, the first one was then getting distracted by things that take our attention away. The second one, it's complacency. The man had got into the wedding banquet, but he wasn't properly dressed. Last week's readings told us we're expected to show some fruit for our faith. The image this time is to be properly dressed. Our wedding garment for the banquet hall of heaven, the cloth for it is woven from the warp and the weft of our good deeds, our charitable acts, and the example that we set of lives of conspicuous virtue. We're told we should shine among people like stars lighting up the sky.